Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a book recommendation video, and this is specifically to one of my favorite genres, and this is gonna be for the historical fiction. So historical fiction is one of my favorite genres because not only is it like a time traveling machine for me, it's one of those genres that has allowed me to learn about different periods in history whilst also being emotionally attached to like really unforgettable characters. Without talking too much, let's get right into the video. First one we have is Nervous Conditions by Tsitsi Dangaremba. First encountered it when I was in high school. This one is set in the colonial Zimbabwe, which was then Rhodesia, and it follows the story of a young girl who is Tambu, and she is determined to get education despite the limitations that her family has set on her, as well as society, because she doesn't live in a place that actually propels her to get education. I really enjoyed this book. Just the thoughts that I used to have when it came to this book. Tambo has just stayed with me since I encountered her. Like, all of the characters have just stayed with me. The reason why I do love this book is, one, it has such an iconic opening line. I was not sorry when my brother died. It's an iconic line. It's a line that you just want to know why this person would say such a thing. Besides that, the reason why I do love it is the history that it gives us of Rhodesia and the colonial influence and its impact as well on Black people of that place. Another reason is the explorations of the themes like gender roles and identity, expectations like societal expectations, gender expectations, family expectations as well. Also, the main thing being education, characters as well. Like, one of my favorite characters that I still think about till this day is Nyasha, who I think that girl was ahead of her time. Okay, when I read that book, I was like, who is she? She is my queen. She spoke her opinion. She truly told the men what she thought, and she did not care. The journey or the questions of identity. We see Tambu questioning a lot of who she is in just different places, how she can adapt as well. It's one of those things that I truly enjoyed about this book. I think it was done very well. The storytelling is amazing. You get to grow with Tambu as time goes on, and you learn more about her and her family as well. Book I would recommend for any reader who enjoys literary fiction as well as family dynamics as well. Like, if you enjoy that type of thing, definitely pick this up. Second one is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This one is set in France during World War II. It follows the story of two sisters going through different parts during the wartime. One sister gets involved in the resistance of the war. The other one stays home and protects her family under horrific, impossible circumstances. We get to know them and how they handle different circumstances. We get to see how people can fight the same fights. It will be in different ways. Not only do you get to know the characters, but you get to learn a lot about the history of the World War as well as the importance of women during that time. I don't think it's something I was knowledgeable about. Another thing that I enjoyed about this book is obviously learning about the history of the World War II and France as well. Another reason why I loved it, it made me cry. If you have been on my channel for a while now, you know that I truly enjoy books that make me cry. I think because this book is character driven, you get to learn a lot about the characters so they feel like you know them and they are quite important to you. It's beautifully written, and it will seem like it's just a mundane thing, but there will be moments where it hits you that, oh my god, these characters have become so important to you and you've grown to be attached to them. If you're like a big fan of learning about the history of France and World War II, also if you enjoy character driven books, this one will be a great recommendation for you. Third one we have is Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This is one of my favorite authors, like, I don't want to lie, of all times. This one is set in Nigeria during the Biafran war. It follows several interconnected characters whose lives are like completely changed by the war through love, friendship, as well as loss. This book paints a vivid picture of a nation at war, and we get to see the impact that it had on different people and how they adapted or how they were affected by the war. I remember reading it. I had packed it for like an 8 hour road trip. Oh, I miss those days, guys. I remember just like immense in the story. I remember being so affected by the characters that we get to introduce here. But I know there's a guy who was a soldier here who I still think about, and his character development really struck me in ways that I was not expecting. It was such a pleasant surprise to be. It's Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, so I obviously love the writing in this book, but it's one of those historical fictions that you get to learn about the Biafran War, and you get to learn about Nigeria and its people as well. There's a lot of like politics that are expressed here from all of these different characters. Even though I have known of Nigeria and the Biafran War, but I have never known it to this extent. And it was such a refreshing thing for me to experience because, as I've said, the rich historical context that it gives you, maybe it's because I didn't have a lot of knowledge about the Biafran War, so it didn't feel like info dumping to me because I didn't know the rich historical context that it gives you without feeling overwhelmed by the information, as well as you get to know the characters. So I felt like it was a perfect balance, as well as the complex characters, like how it was done. It was so humane to me and it made the story so real. For me, it's like peak Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, how she's able to tell us the story, tell us about all of these different, so very different characters, whilst also giving you history lessons and letting you into her country. Done so well. So if you're a reader that enjoys African literature, definitely pick this book up. Now, Homegoing by Yajasi, and where do I start? Set in Ghana and the USA across multiple generations in the 18th century. It was the descendants of two half-sisters whose life take drastic different paths from Ghana, and how some of those people were taken to the US. We get to follow all of these characters and their descendants as well. Me, I remember reading this book and never feeling any kind of confusion about who I'm following or where I'm at. The story just flows. You get to know everybody, guys. Okay, I was both in Ghana and in America at the same damn time. That is some peak time traveling, if I do so say myself. It definitely highlighted so many important things. I think after reading this book, I never took for granted when people say, I am my ancestors' wildest dream. Like, this book captures that saying so well. The reason why I love this book is, again, the exploration of slavery and its impact long after, even if it has been dismantled, and how that affected Black people. The thing that I enjoyed about here, again, it's the multi-generational. I never got confused about where I'm at and who I'm actually following. It starts from the 18th century all the way till the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember reading this book and feeling bored at some point, or like, okay, I don't want to read about this part. I felt like every single character that I was introduced to was important for me to go through. I didn't feel like we were robbed of certain information, and I didn't feel like maybe we rushed too much on certain parts, and I didn't feel like we were given too much. The writing was beautifully done. This is for readers who enjoy historical fiction with fully fleshed out characters, and a book that I can't recommend enough. I can't recommend enough. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one is set in old Hollywood, following a legendary Hollywood actress who finally decides to reveal the truth about her like glamorous life, and as well as her 7 marriages. I think one of the many talents that Taylor Jenkins Reid has, writing stories that feel so real. It is amazing how she transports you to be in that specific timeline. Like, this story unfolds the sacrifices Evelyn had to make in order to just upkeep her glamorous life, but also just to survive Hollywood as a whole. And one of the things that I loved about this book is that it felt like reading a memoir about my favorite public figure. As well, I loved how dramatic, in a way, feeling that it gave me, because basically Evelyn decides to hire this journalist who will be telling her story from her own words. So there are a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about her. We get to see past where Evelyn is recalling all of the things that happened to her back then. It gets to a very pinnacle point when she's telling that story. We will be back in the present time, and I loved that tension that it made, because I think it made for the plot twist at the end to be so satisfying. I enjoyed those antics. That this story has one of the most compelling characters I have ever read. Like Evelyn Hugo. So captivating, so complex as well, so humane. She's just one of those fully fleshed out, well-developed characters I've ever read. This one is a book that I would recommend to readers who are a big fan of like celebrity fiction, character-driven fiction. The one we have is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. I read it as an audiobook a long time ago because it is quite a thick book set in Korea and Japan, following multiple generations across many decades. It basically talks about a family going through a lot of hardships and discrimination during that time, and showcasing a lot of resilience, explorations of identity as well as belonging, decades of discrimination and hardship, and you really get to know the story. I had never read anything talk about the Korean War. This was my first introduction to that. I think it did it so well because as someone who didn't know anything about that, I got to learn quite a lot. I just enjoyed that I got to learn about all of these things and all of these historical events as well through ordinary people that were just living their lives. They were hit by this war. We saw the impacts that it had, and not only do we see the impacts that it had on the war in just general in itself, but we get to see also there are so many things that happen within this family and just their own character development as well. I love that I got to see that. I love that I got to see the humanity in them, the difficult things that they had to go through, experience, and also accept. There's a lot of talks about how our characters move from different places and how they felt or how they were treated in those spaces that was not home for them. So many of our characters had a lot of questions about where do they belong and how do they fit in all of these spaces. I enjoyed seeing that. I recommend this book for any reader who loves historical narrative. Home by Toni Morrison. It's in the 1950s of America. The story follows Frank Money, who is a Korean veteran. After learning that his sister is in danger, he embarks on this journey of basically kind of like rescuing her, but also unpacking a lot of his past as well as understanding the things that he needs to heal. It's less than 150 pages and I really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed how complex Frank is. He's a character that you start to love. In the middle, you don't know if you should be loving him. You get to know him truly. And by the end, you're still very much like confused on how to feel about this character. Another thing that I enjoyed about this book is the exploration of trauma, belonging, and the hardships or the after effects of being a soldier in war, and seeing it from Frank as well. As I've said, that he's such a complex character. I love how honest he was with the reader as well. He didn't shy away. I loved the character development, I would say, of Frank. The story as well of Black people and during that time how they were treated. I really love that. And also the writing is amazing. Toni Morrison has the poetic lyrical writing that kind of feels like it's riddles. It always makes the reader kind of like contemplate certain sentences. Another thing that I truly loved about it, it's short but very impactful. This one I would definitely recommend to any reader who loves literal fiction. Short and very impactful, and for any reader who likes those things. We have is The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. I don't know why I still have trouble pronouncing this name. Follows Lale, who is a prisoner. He works, or he is tasked with being a tattooist to his fellow inmates. And it follows the story of him falling in love and being in the prison, and it gives you a lot of hope, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of history as well, under unimaginable, horrific circumstances. This book is based on a true story. So that underlining tone or that knowledge of itself made the book more emotional or more impactful to me. The reasons that I loved this book is the captivating introduction to the Holocaust history for me. I got to learn quite a lot, and as well again, this one I saw the soldiers as well as the prisoner, how their character development was as well. As I love that it made me cry. I really enjoy books that target my heartstrings because I think you have to have some of the most amazing, beautiful writing to be able to make people cry or to evoke that kind of emotion. It's such an amazing talent, and I love the writing of that. And lastly, I love that like showcased the resilience and gave me so much hope. I was at the edge of my seat the entire time reading this book because felt so much for Lale and Jita, and I was just like rooting for them from the moment they met throughout the book. I really loved it. So this one I'll definitely recommend to readers who are a big fan of history. Like, if you're a huge fan of history, definitely pick this up. But also if you're a fan of romance, I think the romance here is done very well. As well as just like if you're a hopeful type of person, I think this will give you a lot of anxiety, but it will soothe you well towards the end. I definitely love this book. Definitely would recommend. Let me know if you have read any of these books, or comment down below any of your historical faves. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do hope that you did enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Mwah! Bye.